Hi there, everybody. This is David, and welcome to new RPG news. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about this week, from Clear Obscure selling 2 million copies to another game studio releasing a game and it still could go under, unfortunately, to yet another studio openly admitting that they are using AI for 80 to 90% of their games, which is just lovely. In addition to a whole bunch of other stories that I do want to talk about, and I definitely do think that that's worth a sub, as I do try my hardest at 100,000 subscribers. With your help, your like, and your sub, I know that I can get there, so thank you so much for that. First things first, before we really do get started in earnest, I just have some housekeeping things that I want to go over. Some of you have noticed that I have sounded a little bit differently over the last week or so, and that's because I had to get a new computer, and nothing is worse to me than having change. I don't like change. If I could have everything stay the same forever and ever and ever, I would. I can't stand it whenever things change. I never update any of my computers. I don't even like to turn it off, because then it might do like a forced update. I don't like anything to change at all, because it always, like, even whenever you like don't want it to change, it still changes something, and it drives me crazy. So over Christmas, Ken bought me a new laptop, and I didn't want it. And I never used it, and here it is in May, and I finally used the stupid thing because my PC was like crashing out on me and constantly getting like a blue screen of death. So I'm like, ugh, whatever, I'll use this stupid laptop. And I had to transfer all my files over to the laptop and everything, and I thought that like everything would just kind of like transfer over and be the same. But no, we can't have that. We can't possibly have everything be the same. No, it just doesn't work that way, it seems. So I've been trying to get my microphone and my camera and things like that to sound exactly the same as they did before, but God forbid it's that easy. I've had to download all sorts of new different files and programs and stuff that I've never used, and I'm not good at computers, so it's like the blind leading the blind trying to do this. But anyway, I am trying. Long story short, I am trying to get everything back up in order, but it is probably going to be a long process for me because I'm stupid. So anyway, top story. Clear Obscure Expedition 33 sales top 2 million copies, and you love to see it because you love to see a turn-based adult RPG thriving in these times. Thriving. Like, it's so refreshing and nice to see. And I said what I said, Twitter. A game not taking place in a high school. You know, it's so nice to see that. It's nice to see adult party members. You know, most of the party members are over 30 years old. Only Mayel is the youngest one. She's the outlier. Everybody else is an adult with adult problems. And even then, I still love Mayel. You know, she's probably one of my favorite characters. But, you know, it's really great to see this. It's a resurgence of turn-based RPGs with world maps, classic storytelling. It is fantastic. And I went over to Amazon to try to see if I couldn't find, the link to show it to y'all. Be like, hey, if you haven't bought it yet, here it is on Amazon. Buy it. And it's sold out on Amazon. Even it's sold out on Amazon. That's how good it's doing. And you know what else is still sold out on Amazon? The Lunar Remastered Collection. Yeah, I thought that there'd be enough copies for everyone. Thanks. Yuji Horii himself, the creator of Dragon Quest and, one of the huge collaborators over on Chrono Trigger, is already contemplating a remake of Chrono Trigger. And I feel like this is a rehash of a story that we already had because of what happened last week. But yeah, basically, Naples Comic-Con happened, and he was sitting there and he was talking about Chrono Trigger and, all that kind of stuff. And then the translator kind of, I guess, misheard him or misspoke or whatever. And he translated what he said in Japanese into Italian. But what he said was, oh, you're going to be making, a Chrono Trigger remake. And then the audience was like, whoa, this is great. Oh my gosh, But that's not what Yuji Horii actually said. What he actually said at the Comic-Con was, yeah, that's right. It's been a long time. Yeah, I want to do something. Currently, Dragon Quest III and 1 and 2 HD remakes have been going on, and I'm getting a lot of requests for the Chrono Trigger remake as well, so I'm starting to look into it. So he is contemplating a remake of Chrono Trigger. He didn't say he is remaking it. He said that he's contemplating a remake of Chrono Trigger. But, this is Yuji Horii, and it feels like, what Yuji Horii wants, Yuji Horii gets. I mean, if the creator of Saga can continually get all these Saga games coming out, I think that the creator of Dragon Quest can get out a Chrono Trigger game if he wants to. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all remember the days when we used to have to wait years, literally years, sometimes multiple years, sometimes 2 or 3 years, just to get a game localized into English, especially one as big as something in the Trails series? I remember those days. That was me. I lived it. But now we are getting worldwide, simultaneous releases in Japanese and English. Woo freaking who? I cannot believe that this is the timeline that I'm living in. I am a-okay with this. Chosen in the Sky first chapter launches on September the 19th worldwide. For the PS5, Switch, and PC, this was revealed in the latest issue of Famitsu. The standard edition will cost 8,800 yen, while the Bracer Box edition will cost 15,400 yen. Goes over some voice actors and stuff in the Japanese version, blah, 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 blah. Let's look at this Bracer Box. So last time I came to y'all with a Pin Box edition that they're selling over in England, but it is shipping worldwide, and it had some really freaking cool stuff, and it was also endorsed by Falcom. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, go back to last week's video, and you'll see all about it. Now, this one is the Bracer Box edition, and it's only being released in Japan as of right now. There is no English announcement for this yet. This is as of right now. It's only being released in Japan. However, it can ship worldwide, and I don't know what this would be in dollars. I have no idea, but it wouldn't be $15,000. I can tell you that much. So anyway, this Bracer Box edition actually comes with the game. The Pin Box one did not come with the game, but this one actually does come with the game. And it also includes a Trails in the Sky the First original soundtrack mini, a Bright Family Memorial photo album. It says, and all illustrations are newly drawn. This is a must-have item for fans, as it compiles original photos of Estelle and Joshua growing up from their childhood into a Bright Family photo album. However, it does contain spoilers, so please open the package after completing the main game. A DLC costume called Classic Estelle and Joshua, which is hysterical. I'm going to show you some screenshots of that. It's so funny. A semi-bracer antique pin, and a book called The Encyclopedia of Liberal Kingdom, 100 pages. 100 pages! But again, that would be in Japanese only if you did order this version. So you'd have to, know Japan or Japanese to understand that. This is what it looks like. Like, look at this. Like, look, Joshua looks so stupid. Like, look at this. So this is the DLC costume. It puts them like their regular like chibi styles, but you could have like their face be chibi or their body be chibi. So in this case, Joshua is like full chibi, but Estelle has her normal face and like the chibi massive body. And here they're both like talking to each other, but you can see like Shara over here and Cassius like regular with Joshua's ridiculous face, It looks like you're like Disney World or something, and you have like those characters with the massive faces like Mickey Mouse or whatever with the huge faces on. Like, it just looks ridiculous, but it's so funny. So yeah, that's what's included in this Bracer Box, and I will include links to purchase. And speaking of links to purchase, right now the limited run edition of whatever our limited edition is going to be has not yet been released. We do not know, and we also know that limited run is slow AF. However, if you do want to buy it physically, it is available on Amazon for pre-order for $60 for the Nintendo Switch as well as the PlayStation 5, and will include links below to purchase. This is actually really sad news, I've got to say. As a fan of turn-based RPGs myself, I don't want to report this news, but I feel like it is my duty to report this news. This is very sad. It says, no plans to port the 100-line Last Defense Academy to additional platforms, says the creator. However, the company is still on the brink of going under. He says here on a post on Blue Sky, I'm not talking about porting to other platforms, I'm referring to multilingual support. As for porting to other models, I've mentioned many times before, I don't think that needs repeating. Just to be clear, there are no plans for it, and the chances are very slim. Right now, it is on the Switch as well as the PC. And it says right here, we've invested all of our money and human resources into this game, and we even went into debt for it. Currently, 2Kyo Games is still in debt and on the brink of going under. So I feel like this sucks. This sucks. They put out this game, and it's a good game, don't get me wrong. They put out this game, but like they put it out at the worst possible moment. They put it out on the same week that the Oblivion remaster came out and that Clair Obscur came out. And like, number one, Oblivion was like Shadow Drop that came out of nowhere, so they couldn't have planned for that. And then Clair Obscur, they thought, oh, it's just an indie game, you know, yeah, who cares, whatever. But then like Clair Obscur went gangbusters, and people are like, what's 100-line Last Defense? You know, they have no idea. So I feel like it's my duty at least to let people know about this game, to make people aware of this game. I will include links below to purchase the game. It has 100 different endings. It has turn-based battles. It's like a tower defense sort of thing where you protect the school from invaders in turn-based tactical RPG, tactical strategy type of battles and things like that. So yeah. It has like bonding events with your various characters and stuff. It has this really cool collector's edition, has a lenticular art card, it has a 3D acrylic diorama, it has a metal collector's pin, it has the box, it has the game, a full color art book, a Defense Academy short novel, 15 character art cards, an original soundtrack CD. So if you think that you might like this game, now would be the time to purchase it before the company does go under. Fantasy Life: The Girl Who Steals Time is coming to the Switch too. We do not have a release date announced for it quite yet. We also do not know if it will come out in the West. We do know that it will come out in Japan. It says the Switch 2 version will run at a high resolution frame rate compared to the Switch version, and users who own the Switch version will be able to purchase a Nintendo Switch 2 Edition upgrade pack in order to upgrade to the Switch 2 version. That upgrade pack will only cost 300 yen. So yeah. It also says that Level 5 did not announce any plans to release a standalone physical edition of Fantasy Life in Japan, whereas the game will be available physically in Japan for the PS5 and Switch. No games, none, zero, zilch, nada games in the West will be available physically from Level 5. They are going digital only in the West, which pisses me off to no end. And speaking of things that piss me off to no end, the Level 5 CEO says video games are being made 80 to 90% by AI. I feel like there's some sort of cultural divide here, whereas companies in Japan are like, yay, rah, 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 AI. And then people in the West are like, ooh, like, what are you talking about? You know, because there was an article not that long ago where even Square Enix came out and they were like talking about foam stars. Remember foam stars? And they were saying, hey guys, guess what? Our character art cards are AI. Isn't that great? And everybody was like, ooh, you know? So anyway, it says that the Level 5 president believes that 80 to 90% of video game coding, so let's just be clear, coding is being done by AI. He went on to say that in order for developers to be at the best in the business, they will need to be fully proficient in using AI tools and to use their aesthetic sense to further refine their work. So I think what he's really trying to say is like basic humdrum, boring coding, yeah, that's done by AI. And then a human will go back and clean it up and polish it, and then the final game will be polished. And that's fine, I guess, if you do that, but why are you announcing it, letting people know? Like, it's just kind of like, eh? It's just very an odd thing for a company to come out and say. So yeah, anyway, this is like, yikes, Level 5. I'm happy that you're back in the West, but you were making some weird decisions. Tsukuyomi, the Divine Hunter, is now available. This is a card creation roguelike from former Atlas illustrator Kazuma Kaneko. It looks to me like, just from the screenshot and everything, it looks very SMT, like SNES, SMT, old school SMT, dungeon crawling SMT, that sort of thing. It says that this is a free-to-play card creation roguelike game with a former Atlas illustrator, now available on the PC, Steam, iOS via the App Store, and Android via Google Play with cross-save, and it does support English. It says, a new world from visionary creator Kazuma Kaneko, this roguelike card game is the latest work by the legendary creator known for countless masterpieces. In Tokyo's Bayside area stands the Hashira, a state-of-the-art ultra-high-rise complex. The tower has become a sealed-off space crawling with monstrous beings. To eliminate the target lurking at the very top, Tsukuyomi, an elite organization sworn to protect the nation, begins its mission, and then you climb the tower up to the top, and you beat the big baddie. So yeah, if you want to check this one out, please be sure to do so. Excuse me, because I'm still 12 years old, but open world action RPG Sir Whoop-Ass Immortal Death, now available for the PS5 and Xbox Series, at first released on the PC in August of 2022. It's only $17.99, but there is a digital deluxe edition for $20, which includes the Threads of Mass Whoopery skin pack. So I saw this and it just caught my eye, so I had to talk about it. It says, many are the tales of heroism and grandeur, of saving the princess and being rewarded by her hand and half the kingdom of marriage. This is not one of them. You are Sir Whoop-Ass, a valiant knight with a heart of gold, and also the accidental architect of absolute anarchy and chaos in a once perfect world. Through a series of poor life choices, you managed to set loose disarray on the world, and it's now up to you to fix it by knocking on your arch nemesis, the Immortal, into the middle of next week. Do you like ragdoll effects? What about swords, maces, magical wands imbued with the power of a slight pandemic cough? We've got you covered. Crack open a cold can of whoop-ass on the countless orcs, skeletons, trolls, and others nose-picking beasts standing in your way of redemption. More Honkai Star Rail. This is version 3.3 update, The Fall at Dawn's Rise, and it launches on May the 21st. This is the final campaign of the Flame Chase Journey. It says, in this update, Trailblazers will join forces with Chrysos heirs as they enter a pivotal chapter of the Flame Chase Journey. In addition, this version also introduces two new playable characters, Hyacine and Cypher, each bringing their own compelling backstory and distinct flair to the unfolding saga. A wide array of limited-time events will also offer fresh excitement and challenges throughout the journey. In the previous chapter, the Chrysos heirs reclaimed the core flame of death and reason. Now, in this version, Trailblazers will stand beside Chrysos heirs for the final battle of the Flame Chase Journey, confronting the Sky Titan. God, this is like Greek to me. According to the ancient records, Aquila is a 100-eyed giant bird. With the sky as its eyelids, it controls the cycles of dawn and dusk. In addition, Echo of War, Glance of Twilight will also become available, offering players brand new challenges and generous rewards. And if it wasn't clear from my reading of those paragraphs, I don't play this game. Also launching on May 21st is Tales of Psyche? Launching in early access. Okay, this is a fantasy farming life simulation game that looks straight out of the PS2. It says the early access release will feature the first chapter of the game, along with the first 3 unique yokai transformations to master, as well as farming, fishing, cooking, furniture, clothing customization, boss battles, festivals, and romance. The early access period is expected to last around 1 year. The full release will include extra chapters that expand upon the world and story, additional heart events, and relationship stages for NPCs, new areas, new features, NPCs, and more. This is an oriental fantasy-style farming simulation adventure game set in a lost land called Psyche, where various legendary creatures from around the world live. Gosh. The town residents have their own lives, such as the exquisite bar owner, good God, who's always tipsy, the sharp-tongued folklorist Yoji, who's rebellious and obsessed with the study of old gods, and the former mafia boss Otter Andolini, who is now only cares about his dock. However, the seemingly peaceful town is constantly threatened by the power of the old gods. As an outsider, can you successfully manage the old inn entrusted to you by the Inari god? Day of the Show adds PS5, Xbox, PS4, and Switch versions due at Q3 of this year. It's a fast-paced tactical roguelike where each turn is played in a single click. The gods have brought down the wrath on humanity and only a few remote islands remain. A lonely monster huntress has risen to challenge and appease the gods, traveling through what's left of the world. So, is this like... I don't know, like, is this like an idle game? It says tactical choices are made with a single click, making gameplay simple and dynamic while maintaining strategic depth. Like, how could it be strategically... How could it have strategy and depth if everything that you do is just in one click? Like, you need to be able to make, I don't know, decisions and stuff. So, I don't know about this one. The history nerd in me is squealing with girlish glee as Europa Universalis 5 announced for the PC. Never heard of 1 through 4, but here we are. A release date has not yet been announced. Almost 500 years of history unfold before you in Europa Universalis 5, the latest version of one of the greatest strategy games of all time. Guide the destiny of hundreds of nations and societies in a simulated living world of unparalleled depth and complexity. This builds on the franchise's core concept of developing and advancing nations from around a deeply researched historical world. adding more detailed diplomacy, a more sophisticated economic novel, a revised military system, and greater logistical depth that will challenge even the most experienced strategy gamers. Like, you can explore alternate histories, it says, as you shape the world to meet your ambitions. What if England succeeded in pressing its continental claims? What if China pursued an overseas empire in the Americas? What if Mongol supremacy in Russia persisted? Every action opens the possibility for an original history. Like, that's pretty cool as far as I'm concerned. Cozy turn-based strategy board game Flamecraft has been announced for the PC. It says that the studio behind the digital adaptations of the board games Wingspan and Calico has announced the video game version of the tabletop strategy game Flamecraft. I've never heard of Wingspan or Calico or Flamecraft, so sue me. Whenever I play board games, it's like Settlers of Catan, or it's like the really basic like Monopoly, Scrabble sort of thing, Clue, whatever. It will be available for the PC and Steam. A release date was not yet announced. Flamecraft is a cozy turn-based strategy board game for 1 to 5 players. Become a flame keeper and help artesian dragons and shopkeepers delight the townspeople with their craft. Gather and manage resources, enhance the shops by casting enchantments, and magic your way to becoming the best flame keeper. Your main task is to thoughtfully place dragon artisans in the town's bustling shopping district. They'll help you gather various resources from the shops, which you can later use to cast enchantments, triggering powerful ability combos. You'll also befriend the extraordinary fancy dragons with abilities allowing you to boost your reputation. Your main goal is to earn the most reputation points by the time the game ends. If you manage to do that, you'll earn the Master of Flamecraft title. Sega. Now, Echo the Dolphin and Echo Ties of Time Remastered announced alongside the third Echo game, and a countdown website ends on April 25th of 2026. I know this isn't an RPG, but it's my childhood, and I remember all the commercials for this game. I remember being actually excited about it, even though I didn't have a Sega Genesis, but my friend down the lane, Brianna, did have a Sega Genesis, and I went over to her place, and I played it over there, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. You know, this everybody's going on about this game, and I played it, and I was like, wow, this is boring. But anyway, they're doing a remastered version of Echo the Dolphin and Echo Tides of Time. Once those are complete, they'll begin a new third game in the series. So that's pretty cool, but weren't there other games besides just those two games? I feel like there was a game, like a digital game on the 3DS and something else on like the PS2. I feel like this series went on for quite a bit of time, but they're only doing like the Genesis games for some reason. And speaking of waxing nostalgic, Bubsy in the Perfect Collection games list has been announced. There's 8 titles and 8 versions. That's what they're going for marketing, but really there's only 4 games. You know, but they say that they're 8, but there's really only 4. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. So there's Bubsy and Fraxy Furry Tales for the Jaguar. Bubsy and Claws Encounters of the Fur Kind, which is the game that I played growing up, and I really actually thoroughly enjoyed it. But the reason why they're saying that actually counts as 4 games, because they're giving you the Genesis version, the SNES version, the Super Famicom version, actually 3 versions because I can't count. The one that Bubsy 2, 1 game, but they're giving you the Game Boy version, the Genesis version, and the SNES version. And then Bubsy 3D, they're giving you the PlayStation version. So they're saying it's 8 games, but it's really 4 games, so yeah. It says 8 classic Bubsy games alongside artifacts and interviews providing insight into the creation of legacy of our furry friend. All games in the collection have been carefully updated for modern systems, smoothing out rough edges with new quality of life features and technical upgrades, while staying true to the quirky catitude Bubsy is known for. In Bubsy, the Perfect Collection is the ultimate collection of Bubsy's legacy and a great opportunity for fans and newcomers alike to experience this fantastic catalog like never before. Get ready to pounce into the decade-spanning history of Bubsy and his friends, taking on platforming challenges, gathering collectibles, and bashing baddies into oblivion while discovering all there is to know about the feisty feline franchise. This is coming out for the PS5, Switch, Xbox, and PC sometime this year. Again, not an RPG, but it is my childhood, and I played Bubsy on the SNES. I remember we rented it at Video Wonderland, and we liked it so much that we actually bought it at Toys R Us or something, like wherever we bought it at. I don't really remember, but we actually bought it because we really liked it. I had a good time playing Bubsy. So yeah, that's it for new RPG news. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry about the audio issues lately. I'm trying my best with it, believe me, I'm trying, but it's hard for me. Whenever I'm not good at computers, it's very hard. So just stick with me. And as always, have a good day.